Hey, what's up, Illumineers? My name is Nerdstrom, and I hope you guys are excited for the last weekend of the Set 6 Championships that's going on all across the country and all across the world. Here at the Nerdstrom Household, I am unfortunately not going to be participating in part of the festivities because after two set championships, it's time to call it quits for Lorcana for this rest of this month, at least in competition, in competitive play, and kind of focus a little bit more on personal life ambitions that I have on my plate. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I am done with Lorcana by any means. No. Between now and Arcasia Sea, Arcasia's Island, excuse me, set 7. Here at the Nerdstrom Household, we are going to be having our own special Nerdstrom House Championship, and that is basically a contest to determine which of the decks that I have constructed in the Nerdstrom household is considered the best deck in the household. So it's going to be, I'm really excited for this. It's a thing that I tend to do for my own self during my own practices every time I practice against myself to determine which is the best deck in the household. I'm really excited to show this for you guys here on YouTube, the way that I demonstrate this process. So the way that the decks have been seeded, there are currently 6 active decks that I have at my disposal that are part of the official 6 seeded decks. And I've got them right over here. So right now, the rankings, because you guys have never seen me do the rankings personally, the rankings are done in accordance with what a meta report that Lorcana Villain did on his own time. I just basically took his research and just kind of based off the seedings. But it basically goes based off of how many times a deck has made top 8 and higher, or how many has won. And the higher the number is, the higher the seed is going to be. And then I just did it in accordance with which decks I own, plus taking into account certain decks I do not have, but have constructed and have yet to have any competitive play being done for them. So as you can see, right now, the most represented deck in Lorcana right now is Amber Steel. And I do have an Amber Steel Songs deck, and that is going to be the number 1 seed. And then on this side, I've got a Ruby Sapphire representing the number 2. So those are the top 2 seeds on there. That does mean that they do get a first round bye. It might actually be a second round bye, depending on how you look at the tournaments on there as I develop. But these guys will be facing the winner that plays the 3 and the 6 seed over on this side, or the 4th and the 5th seed on this side. So the number 3 seed is Ruby Amethyst. The number 4 seed is Amethyst Steel, or as I've titled this one, Purple Steel. And then the number 5 seed is the Emerald Steel discard variant that I have in my collection. This Purple Steel is actually Jafar. It's the way that I play it, and thus it is seeded as such. And then the last one right here, the 6th seed on here, is the Amber Amethyst decks. Now, the thing that you notice down on here is a buy-in deck. Now, the buy-in decks are going to be these 2 decks right here. Now, one of them you might already be familiar with by this point, which is right over here. This represents the Blue Steel Kiwi Birds variant that I've done. I also do have at my disposal an Emerald Sapphire deck that I've been really experimenting on. I've been really excited to kind of show for you guys at the same time too. We are going to determine the buy-in through a basic coin flip once the contest officially starts, and you'll see it when Amber Amethyst Hyper Aggro faces off against that buy-in thing. So we're going to do a coin flip. This is going to determine heads or tails, is going to determine which of the decks is going to fight against Amber Amethyst. And the winner of that one will go on to face Ruby Amethyst in the official first round of this one. Now on this side, the one who doesn't get the coin flip will face off against Emerald Steel in their buy-in game. These buy-in games are going to be best of one. That means one fall to a finish. You're in. If you win, you're in. If you don't win, you're out. And so these ones right here are just gonna be best of one. These right here are gonna be best of three. The winner of this one will go on to face the top one or the top two seed, regardless of determining best, dependent on which position you're in. And then the final two will go on to face each other, and that will be a best of five. I'm really excited to be doing this with you guys. It's going to be a really fun time. But before I start the championships, I got to show you exactly what decks I will be playing. So let's go ahead and start with the Hyper Aggro deck, which is represented by Elsa right here, and also represented by the Elsa mat. You'll know which decks I'm playing based off of like what images you see on here too. That way it makes it a little bit more easy to identify as the weeks go on, or days go on. And the contest, I am intending on making sure it goes through all the way until March 7th when Arcasia's Island releases. So I hope you guys are gonna follow me through this thing. It's going to be really exciting. But yeah, let's go ahead and start off with our deck profile of our Hyper Aggro decks. I'm not going to go into too much detail of the gameplay and how the deck operates, like at least not on a very detailed level. I'll give you a pretty simple kind of basic idea of what it is, but the whole point of it is I wanted to show you what cards are going to be in the deck going into the House Championship. So Hyper Aggro is going to consist of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 21, 2. 22 one-drops. This is definitely inspired by Earlmeister's deck builds, by having a whole bunch of one-drops so you can drop it on the play. And right at the forefront, you know her, you love her. It's Daisy Duck, Donald's Date. It's a one-drop, uninkable, has a strength of 1, willpower of 4. It quests for 2, and whenever this character quests, each opponent reveals a top card of their deck, and if it's a character card, they may put it into their hand. Otherwise, they put it on the bottom of the deck. Really great body to have at the beginning. Really tough to get rid of, especially in the early game. Now, as a support piece on there, I support it with 4 Lilos. These ones are quite simple. Just simple one-drop, also uninkable. Strength of 1, willpower of 1, quests for 2. Just get that early game kind of deal going on first. Just try to get the lore on as soon as possible. It's Hyper Aggro. The whole point of it is to get as much lore as you can. Damn whatever the other team is doing. You know what I mean? And then, of course, I'm going to go ahead and supplant that with Maleficent, Biding Her Time. Also 1/1, one drop uninkable, quests for 2. Now as a support one drop, especially on turn 2, I use Diablo Obedient Raven. When this character is banished, you may draw a card. It is a 1-drop inkable. It has a strength of 0, willpower of 1, and it quests for 1 by itself. And then I also use Chernobog's Followers. 1-drop, strength of 2, willpower of 1, quest for 1, and when this character quests, you may banish them to draw a card. Now, the last thing I do, this is part of the 22 one-drops that I have, I use Befuddle. It is a 1-drop action, and when you play it, return chosen character with item cost of 2 or less to their player's hand. So let's say you've got you see a one, like you're playing second and you see like a 1-drop Cinderella go down on the board. You might want to interrupt them and prevent them from doing any sort of song by sending them back to the hand, and it takes them another turn in order to start doing things like dropping songs on your opponents, on your own characters. So yeah, that's basically the 1-drops in a nutshell. And then we'll go ahead and go on to the 2-drops. First and foremost, right off of the bat, is Madam Mim's Snake. It's a 2-drop inkable. It has a strength of 3, a willpower of 3, quest for 1, and when you play this character, you have to banish her or return another chosen character of yours back to your hand. So this character, you've seen this character throughout. If you've been familiar with Lorcana, going back to Rise of the Floodborn, this card is really great, especially when you want to, if you don't have, say, Daisy in your hand and you want to quest with your Lilo, or your Maleficent, but you don't want it to get destroyed in the next turn. So you take that, you use Madam Mim's Snake to bring it out, and now you have a big body out on the field that could prevent, say, like a singer from singing a two attack thing to get rid of your characters on turn 1. It's a great turn 2 play when you can't get your Daisy out. I also use 4 Piglets. It's a 2-drop inkable, strength of 2, willpower of 2. It currently quests for 1, but when you have 2 or more other characters in play, this character gets +2, can quest for 2 more lore. This is also great if you have this on the field, you don't have any other 1-drops for some odd reason, and you want to be able to gain lore as quickly as possible, but only using 2 characters. So when you have the 3rd character, then you can start questing, and hopefully Piglet doesn't get targeted in that process. I also drop in 3 Lilo Escape Artists. It's a 2-drop inkable, strength of 1, willpower of 2. It quests for 2. At the start of your turn, if this card is in your discard, you may play her, and she enters play exerted. If I got nothing in hand that I can use, and I got Escape Artist in the discard pile, I can just go ahead and pay 2 before I draw my card, put that on the field. I at least got a body on there that they have to deal with. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And then I also use... Now, if you're wondering why I don't have 4 Lilos, it's because I don't own 4 Lilos. That's the reason why. All right. And then I've used 3 Amethyst Chromacons, in cost of 2. When you exert this item, each player may draw a card. And then lastly, I use 4 Gathering Knowledge and Wisdoms. It's a 2-drop, uninkable. It just gains you 2 lore. You're trying to win the game. How do you win the game? You gain lore, and this is the easiest way to do it. No one can do anything about it, short of discarding the card. But yeah, once it goes on, you immediately gain 2 lore. If you want to be able to win a game, sometimes this is the easiest way to do it. So these are the 2 drops as part of the hyper aggro combination. Let's go ahead and put those there. All right. And now here's my 3 drops. I've got 3 Blue von Bruenwald the 13th in my deck. It's a 3-drop, uninkable, has a strength of 0, willpower of 3, quest for 1, and it's got bodyguard. So this character may enter play exerted. An opposing player who challenges one of your characters must choose one with bodyguard if able. If you want to go against my snake, you gotta go through Baloo first. And it's very important that it gets targeted because when this character is banished, you gain 2 lore. What did I say? The whole point of this game is to win, and win by gaining lore until you hit 20. What an easy way to kind of do it that way. I also supplant that bodyguard with this bodyguard. Donald Duck, Musketeer Soldier. It's a 3-drop inkable. It's got a strength of 2, willpower of 3, quest for 1. It's got a bodyguard ability as well. And when you play this character, the chosen character gets +1 lore this turn. Let's say you've got, Lilo on the field or something like that, and you got this Mim, and you want to go ahead and quest to make the most of it. But Mim only gives you 1. Hey, I'm gonna put this Donald Duck, and then I'm gonna protect my characters. And while I do that, I'm going to have this one gain this lore. That way I can quest for 4 instead of 3. That's the whole basic idea of using Donald Duck. Didn't I say I wasn't going to give away too much information? Look at me just blabbering on. All right. I also supplant this with 4 foxes. Madam Mim Foxes. It's a 3-drop inkable, strength of 4, willpower of 3, quest for 1. When you play this character, banish her or return another character of yours to your hand. It's also got Rush. This is one of those characters where you want to be able to protect your fragile 1-drop characters while also being able to attack the board and hopefully get rid of some guys that could potentially attack in the future. Great clutch card. Sometimes it comes out of nowhere. Nobody really expects it all the time in a hyper aggro deck, because the whole point of hyper aggro is just have these like little light characters quickly gain you lore as fast as possible. But sometimes you need a fox, and when that happens, you'll be ready. And then lastly, I've got right here in my 3 drops, I've got the White Rose, Jewel of the Garden. It's a 3-drop inkable, strength of 3, willpower of 3, quest for 1. And when you play this character, gain 1 lore. What's the point of the game? It's to gain lore so you can win the game. And that is my 3 drops. And lastly, this is a very low to the ground deck. I don't have any 5 drops or up. I only have 1 4-drop at my disposal, and it is Merlin Goat, 4-drop inkable, strength of 4, willpower of 3, quest for 1. And when you play this character, when it leaves play, you gain 1 lore. If you look at this, basically I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Potential for 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. At least more than 20 lore just passively being added in the Cortus with certain actions, or when you just play a card and it just nets you lore. So passively, it has the potential to just go ahead and win the game on its own without putting around too many characters. But obviously the characters make gaining lore a hell of a lot faster. So this is the hyper aggro deck, and this will be represented as of right now, the number 6 seed in the buy-in, and hopefully going into subsequent rounds in the Nerdstrom Household House Championship. Until next time, my name is Nerdstrom, and let's get nerdy.